Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, and well. Apparently, Jaleel White, aka Urkel, said that because Family Matters wasn't hood enough, it don't the black community didn't accept it. Brother, my brother in Christ. I understand. You was on that show. You felt like you was the hot shit. You felt like you was better than Martin. You was better than Fresh Prince. You was better than Wayne Bros. You was better than Jamie Foxx show. You was better than Living Single. I get it. When you on your show, you feel like your show is top show. And I understand. Back in the 90s, the competition was heavy. All those shows I just named, heavy competition with each other. I completely understand from his perspective. But my brother in Christ, you're a B to C level show at best. Now, in the earlier seasons when y'all was still little kids, yeah, y'all was A tier. Once y'all started getting older, y'all started creeping up into the teenage years, and then the facial hair start coming out, titties start blossoming and shit, and then we got to add new characters to the show to keep the kitty dynamic to it. That's when the show started falling off because the Urkel character was ruining the show. Urkel was saving the show, but then Urkel started ruining the show. Wanna know why? Because they put too much emphasis on fucking Urkel. And that's why the black community looks at Family Matters. We say, hey, Family Matters is a good show, but if Martin the Fresh Prince is on, we changing the channel. You can't get mad at us. Your character ruined the show. They put too much emphasis on your character, sir. Your character, obviously you're not going to be able to see it because you have to portray this character. But this is why every time I bring up Family Matters, I always bring up they should have had character development, because that would have saved the show so much, bro. Family Matters could have been saved by character development. I always said that moment from when they found out that Steve could actually hoop, that should have been the changing of his character. He should have slowly been changing from Steve Urkel, the nerd, to Steve Urkel, the cool guy. So basically going into his Stefan phase as he was getting older and maturing. His Stefan phase, he started losing the glasses more, but he was still the nerd. He was the geeky kid, but he started to develop a lot more. You know what I'm saying? He started to become cooler. He started to become less clumsier. He started working on experiments trying to save the world or help this or try to fix this. You know what I'm saying? He could have had his little quirky. We still could have had the quirky Urkel moments, but let's develop his character at the same time. When you start doing shit like I think that's what fucks it up. When you go from a show that's based on real life situations as far as in the black community, and you go from that to wacky experiments that harm people in the house. You blow up the house every now and again. You blow the door off. You blow the garage up. You blow the basement up. You blow the living room up. Y'all get sent back in time. You get sent to another place and then you're trapped. It's like, yo, these wacky adventures. What are these wacky adventures? What happened to real life situations? That's what made Family Matters good, was when it was real life situations, gangs, alcohol, drugs, racism, guns in the schools. So many topics that were tackled on, you know what I'm saying? Going through puberty, going through emotional stuff, you know what I'm saying? Developing as a kid and parents not understanding you. Trying to be accepted and rumors being spread about you. So many things were tackled on. which made so many good episodes. The good episodes are the episodes where they kept it real. But when you start doing the wacky shit because you need filler shows, like you get the you get the Halloween episodes with Steve and Carl's bad. Like, no, nobody want to see that, bro. Nobody want to see Urkel in a wig, Urkel with a wig and a dress, chasing after Eddie. We don't need that. Nobody needed that, bro. That was so unnecessary. That's what ruined the show. The Urkel character ruined the show. The wackiness ruined the show. Taking it away from real life situations to let's just make the show funny and let's build it around Urkel. That's what ruined the show. And that's why the black community is like, okay, the first couple of seasons, Family Matter, cool. The second half of Family Matters, throw that shit in the trash. It's a couple of episodes I might take out. It's a couple of episodes we might have to take out. But other than that, throw all that shit in the trash. Then y'all changed the mamas up on the last season. Y'all changed the mamas up on the last season. Y'all had Gina Mama. How we go from Harriet Winslow, dark skin, to Gina Mama for Martin? How we do that? How do we do that?
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
So stop the cap, my nigga. Stop the cap, bruh. Your show just ain't it, bro. It don't hit to say because it didn't stay in the continuity. You can't go down the wacky misadventures of Steve Urkel. You can't do it like the Wayans Bros or Martin or Jamie Foxx, because those were based off comedies. Y'all show was centered around drama, somewhat comedy, and real life situations. And then y'all stepped away from that, and you threw the show, and you threw the character, and you threw your you threw the fan base off, cause it threw me off. I'm like, yo, what the fuck going on here? Why is we going to Antarctica, and why is we going to Antarctica, and Steve is damn near drowning, and Carl got to save him, and it was the same fucking plot. Carl gets hurt. Steve save him, he forgive him, and then they hug and be happy, and then the next episode Steve does something stupid again, and then Carl get mad at him, and then they work it out at the end. You kept doing the same fucking formula every fucking episode. Did not change it up, bro. It got to a point where it started getting so fucking repetitive that I completely stopped watching the show. I still have never finished Family Matters. And that's just me, and that's just my true, honest, personal opinion about Family Matters, bro. There's a reason why it's B/C tier as a black show. Could have been A tier if y'all stuck with the same formula. But when you switched up, you went straight down to B tier, C tier. That's where y'all was at, bro. For real.
Heat online after saying he feels Family Matters is left out of legacy black entertainment, and Family Matters always ranking last on the polls of favorite black shows underneath Martin and Living Single. If it's not a hood story, it's not a black story.
Whoa! I don't understand what these mean. Listen, Family Matters is a legacy when it comes to sitcoms back in the day. And what he can't worry about is when publications or media outlets talk about.
Hold on, go back. Now, imagine if this was just Steve Urkel with character development, instead of them having to create a whole new persona for Urkel, which is Stefan. Imagine if they just made this Steve Urkel and he just had character development. Over time, he started gaining confidence. His voice started getting deeper. He starts getting older. His voice starts getting deeper. He stops walking around with the suspenders on. Like, he stops doing all that shit, and then he just goes from that to that. He starts to develop, bro. And once you start seeing the character development, it could have done so much. It could have done so much for the show dynamically. I'm telling you, bro, if they would have just did something with character development, I think the show could have went so far. It's crazy how they don't do this with the black shows. They never create like dynamic growth of characters with the black sitcoms back in the 90s. I want to say the 2000s they started doing it. Then around the 2010s they definitely nowadays they definitely do character development. But in the 90s they didn't do it. They just stuck to a certain formula because it worked. And I don't think that's what kind of hurt a lot of shows in the 90s, bro, especially Family Matters. Like imagine, like I said, just imagine if this was just Steve Urkel and not Stefan Urkel, a clone of Steve Urkel. Come on now.
And what he can't worry about is when publications or media outlets talk about, let's talk about the culture.
This is for the cool.
Well, now tuned in to the Dark Times channel.
And so here we go again, back with another one. Welcome back to the Dark Times channel. And before I get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel, you've been enjoying the content so far on this channel, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so let's go ahead and get into it. We got to talk about none other than Jaleel White, aka Steve Urkel.
Can I do that?
Triggered some people recently when he made some remarks on how black culture feels about Family Matters.
Being a part of the TGIF brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of blackness. You know, blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. You know, if it's not a hood story, it's not a black story.
And I want to talk about why he made those remarks and why he said what he said, because I definitely don't agree with them, and most people within the community wouldn't agree with him.
He's mistaken.
Because he said it's the TGIF, but brother, you gotta remember there were other black shows on ABC, bruh. My Wife and Kids was on ABC, bruh. And My Wife and Kids is goated in the black community, bruh. It's a goated show. B+. That's a B+ show. My Wife and Kids is a B+ show. And it's not even remotely ghetto. It's not remotely ghetto. It don't even give you the symptoms of ghetto-ness, okay? It's a middle-class family in a good house. You got a father who owns a trucking company, a mother who got her masters and stuff like that. And they just raising their kids normally, bruh. Going through the trials and tribulations of raising teenagers and a youngin'. You know what I'm saying? And what's so crazy about that show? You want to know what makes that show even better? Character development. Junior had character development. Everybody had character development. As the show went on, there was character development. Come on now. Now, obviously, Claire was probably a little bit of a setback because they had to switch the character up, and it turned into a from dark skin to a light skin, and then there was like some character mix up. But still, though, like the show still had character development. No matter how you looked at it, that show had character development. So it don't matter what network it was on. It don't matter if it was on ABC or it wasn't on UPN, so it didn't get the love and appreciation that it deserved. It don't matter if it was on UPN, WB, CBS, NBC. It didn't matter, bro. Fucking Cosby Show, A Different World, and fucking Fresh Prince was on NBC. What are we talking about here? You just making up shit, bro. Come on, bro. I understand, bro. You feel like your show is top tier, but the people, but we the people, we decide whether it's a top tier black show or not, and it just wasn't. It just was. Now with the white people and the other races, they consider Family Matters a top show, but in the black community, we put that shit at the bottom because Urkel just wasn't a character we could relate to. We don't do that science nerdy shit, bruh. Like Stefan, like I said, if he developed into Stefan gradually, organically, that would have changed so much, and Urkel would have became so more relatable to the black community. But when you make Urkel out to be a toy seller, a merchandise seller, a character that, you know what I'm saying, you put on lunch boxes and book bags and stuff like that, notebooks, you know what I'm saying, when you got it on drinking cups and shit like that, when you do stuff like that, you get a character like that just doesn't resonate, because it's just a marketing tool. That's all Urkel was a marketing tool. That's why they centered the show around him so much. I understand you got to make your money, but like, god damn, at some point it's like, dog, people gonna get over this character. Everybody gonna grow up and realize that this Urkel character really ain't cool like that, bro. Like, come on, bro.
I'm not sure where he's getting his information from, but hey, listen, it resonates with all of us. The Cosby Show, family, all that is under the same umbrella.
That wasn't nothing, and the Cosby definitely wasn't no damn hood.
And so absolutely, in the 80s and the 90s was...
I'm saying though, Fresh Prince wasn't hood. Will Smith, like the first 2 seasons it was hood. By the 3rd season, it wasn't hood, bro. Will had adapted to his environment. Will had adapted to Bel Air at that point. So it come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? Y'all trying to make it seem like because Martin is top tier, Wayne Bros is top tier, and fuck it, he trying to make it seem like because Martin, Wayne Bros, and shit, even Jamie Foxx wasn't even hood. Jamie Foxx show wasn't even hood like that. Nah, that show wasn't even hood like that either. They was in a nice fancy hotel. You had they had black people out here doing things, bro, for real. You know what I'm saying? The only shows that we could say was honestly in the hood was Martin and the Wayans Bros. Yeah, just Martin and the Wayans Bros. Those were the only 2 shows in the hood. Every other show was middle class. They had successful businesses going on. Wasn't nobody in the hood scraping out the pots, you know what I'm saying, trying to get the last of the grits, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that, you know? And even with Martin, they didn't. Yeah, he lived in an apartment, but it wasn't like it was fucking crackheads walking around and shit. Well, like it was crackheads running around breaking into his house stealing shit. It wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just good wholesome comedy. Come on, bruh. Come on. Jaleel White, what are you talking about, sir? What are you talking about?
The golden era of so-called black cinema and what black cinema was supposed to be.
Look, I'll call you next week and we'll iron out the details. Okay?
Yeah.
It was great seeing you, son.
You too. Lou?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Will.
You know what? Actually, this works out better for me. You know, the Slimmies of summer come to class wearing next to nothing. You know what I'm
Will,
saying?
it's all right to be angry.
I ain't need him then and I don't need him now.
Will.
Nah, you know what, Uncle Phil? I'm gonna get through college without him. I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kids.
And this wasn't even in the hood. This was in a mansion, bro. They did this in a mansion and still hit it. And still hit home for the black community, man. Come on, dog. How come you want me, man? Well, dog. Come on, man. But to you, yeah. I will make many wishes. I hope my Gina does not desist. My day. It could
And there wasn't anything good about any of these shows or any of these sitcoms that were on television during that time. And so, of course, I can't speak for Jaleel White, but what I think Jaleel White is really speaking to is the fact that Family Matters was kind of lumped in with some of the shows that white America watched.
And sometimes I feel left out of that. So it's like, like if there's ever a poll and they say, oh, what are your favorite black shows? And, Martin is in there or Living Single or any of those guys, I already know we coming in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high.
And so absolutely, that's probably the one thing.
Yeah, y'all would rank really high because there's not that many black family shows. Let's see here. Fresh Prince gonna always be at the top. Y'all never gonna beat Fresh Prince because you're never gonna beat Will Smith. You're not touching Will Smith, not at all. You're not gonna touch the GOAT, my nigga. I'm sorry, but y'all not fucking with the GOAT, my guy.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
So you should already accept your fate right there. Carl Winslow ain't got nothing on Uncle Phil. No offense. I know they was good friends, but Carl Winslow ain't got nothing on Uncle Phil. First thing first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real, you're the only father that I ever knew. I get my bitch pregnant, I'm gonna be a better you. Come on, man. And then you got the Cosby Show. Cosby Show would have been ahead of y'all if Bill Cosby was on that freaky ass 69 God shit. If that nigga didn't have a weird case, trust me, Cosby Show be ahead of y'all too. Let's just be real.
Freaky ass nigga, he a 69 God.
If Bill Cosby was on that freaky ass 69 God shit, then we trust me, Cosby would be ahead of you. What else is another family show? My Wife and Kids. I will put My Wife and Kids ahead of y'all. Just because, My Wife and Kids. I'm gonna have to put them ahead of y'all too. Shit. Try to think. What else? What shows with family orientated shows? Black family orientated shows. If we want to be funny about it, I could include the Proud Family. If I wanted to be an asshole about it, I would put an animation over you. We could talk about One-on-One. We could talk about fucking Everybody Hates Chris. That's definitely going over you. You definitely not beating Everybody Hates Chris. Shit, that's number 2 as far as I'm concerned. If we talking black family orientated shows, yeah, I'm putting Everybody Hates Chris ahead of you. Yeah. Y'all not fucking with Everybody Hates Chris. So we're gonna have to move you out the way for that one. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, that would mostly be it. But yeah. So even with that, y'all, you probably still be top 5, but you still wouldn't be top tier. So no matter how we look at it, you still be at the bottom of the totem pole. And that's only because the Urkel character in the later seasons ruined the show. We couldn't relate to that shit no more. We cannot relate to time capsules and shit like that. Y'all traveling to different places through science and all this shit. It's like, bro, this shit not real. We not trying to see that shit. We trying to see the struggle. We trying to see that real. You know what I'm saying? When I was watching Family Matters, we was watching that real. Now we watching some bullshit.
Thing that I do agree with Jaleel White on. It was exclusively a family show with a lot of slapstick humor.
Will you go to the dance with me? No.
It's Urkel's first homecoming dance on Family Matters. Then Frank needs some first aid. Step by step.
And something that I would compare Family Matters to when we're talking about the dichotomy between shows, I would compare it to how white America views the show Step by Step, which was also another TGIF show lineup, and how white America views the show Friends. Both great shows in their own right. Both of them had long runs, very successful, but they're viewed completely different by people within their communities. They're separated. They're not equal. When people bring up Friends, people talk about that's the greatest show of all time. Same thing with Seinfeld. You can flip-flop them, cut them up however you want to, but those are probably the 2 top shows within white America. But nobody ever bothers to bring up the show Step by Step because it was primarily or exclusively a kids show. And so it gets rightfully put in its own category. And this is something that Jaleel White knows. And I could gather that maybe Jaleel White is perhaps trying to promote his book Or perhaps Jaleel White is probably a little bit bitter. And it's not any doing of our own, but the same thing that happened to Jaleel White is the same thing that happened to a lot of character actors like a Kramer. After Kramer did that role, Kramer couldn't be taken seriously doing another role. Because after he played Kramer for so long, that's all he ever was to everybody. He was Kramer. On the streets, he was Kramer. And it's the same thing with Jaleel White. After Jaleel White did Steve Urkel for so long, he couldn't be seen as any other character. It was impossible. At least that's what a lot of the producers said within Hollywood. That's why he was never really casted for any serious roles after that, not any mainstream roles at least. Because they were afraid that the audience was only going to see Steve Urkel. And it's true. He did the character so well and he did it for so long, that's all the audience was ever going to see is Steve Urkel. And so I can...
That's why if they would have developed his character more, he probably would have got more roles and he wouldn't be saying this goofy ass shit. But this is what happens in the 90s. This is what happens in the 90s when they got successful black shows, but they don't want them to top over, but they don't want them to be too successful because they don't want them to top. They don't want to fuck up the white people money. They know the white people money gonna sell more than the black people money. So it's like, all right, cool. Y'all doing your thing over there, but you're not going over Full House. You're not going over Full House. Remember that. You guys will never be over Full House. You guys will always, you could be number 2, number 3, don't matter. You're not going to go over Full House. So no matter how good we try to make this show work, no matter how good of a season it is, even if we have a bad season, we still going to make sure that Full House gets all the love and support it needs. Even if we got to use y'all. Yes, that's right. We put Steve Urkel on Full House just because we can. Fuck out here. Because we need to sell that merchandise, baby.
Only imagine as an adult, having a family, being out and about, and everywhere you go, you're Steve Urkel. You're not Jaleel White. You can't be recognized like Denzel Washington can be recognized or a Will Smith can be recognized. No, you're Steve Urkel. And so subsequently, I think that some of this passive-aggressive energy that Jaleel White has towards the so-called black community in regards to the show is a direct result from that. But that's all I had on this one. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit that.
Hey, man, it is what it is, dog. It is what it is, dog. I ain't really finna sit up here and go, well, I already did, but still. I'm just saying, though, like, look, my brother, if they would have developed the Urkel character, Jaleel would have definitely got more roles because they could have changed his character up. They could have put him in some dark situations on the show that could have changed the dynamic of his character and really show his acting range. And they could have got him out there in Hollywood. They could have got him out there in some roles because the Urkel character would have been different. It would have been like, okay, when he was a kid, that was Urkel. That was little Urkel. When he became big Urkel, yeah, he started to become that dude, you know what I'm saying? Could have been that cool guy, you know what I'm saying? But nah, when you have to separate yourself from that character to make another character, and then you doing fucking a character in a wig, you doing a character with dreads sagging his pants and stuff like that, a fucking stereotype. Then you got the Bruce Lee stereotype. Come on, dog. Come on, man. Like, you're gonna box yourself in. And there's nobody, and you can't really blame nobody. Well, you could blame the writers. You can blame the writers, and you can blame the writers and the directors and the people, but you're gonna end up losing your job. And then they're gonna say you was hard, you difficult to work with. But I just think that, like I said, I just think that if they would have developed the Urkel character into Stefan organically, like instead of like making a clone of Urkel to make his cool side come out, instead organically just make him cool as he gets older. You know what I'm saying? That could have changed the dynamic of a lot of shit. That's just me though. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I will see you all in the next video. Tell what y'all think down in the comment section below. I didn't went on a rant for like 30 minutes, but Jaleel White made me do it, man. Jaleel White made me do it. You don't have to be hood. Like, bro, every show, damn near all the hit shows in the 90s weren't hood. Okay? They weren't hood. I think the only show that was really hood was like Rock. Rock was the only show that was hood. Outside of that, every other show wasn't really hood. Every show was middle class. Everybody had a job. Everybody wasn't sitting on their ass waiting for them welfare checks. It wasn't like Good Times. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that. Hustling and surviving. Good time. Nobody was sitting up here. Nobody was sitting up there struggling. Just trying to make it to another day. No. This was simply middle class black shows. Middle class, working class black shows based off the parents, the teenagers, the kids that grow into teenagers, that's growing into teenagers, that's growing into adults. Yeah, it was those type of shows, bro. It wasn't like nothing really, you know, like, damn man, we gotta keep our hands down because you know Pookie and them gonna be outside later on. You know they're gonna shoot up the neighborhood, so we gotta be down because we don't want to get shot or nothing like that. It wasn't even like that, bro. I'm just saying though, dog. I'm just saying though, Jaleel White, my brother in Christ, not making sense, but I see where you're coming from. Anyways, let's just go about do it for this one. I'll see y'all in the next video. Till then, peace out.